It's a good AGam in Kansas morning. Good morning. Let's take a look and see what's coming up today. First, Dr. Chris Blevins and Dr. Laurie Beard walk us through a visit to the K-State Veterinary Health Center Equine section. Next, Dr. Justin Talley shares a program to minimize pasture contamination by parasites. And Dr. Ignacio Ciampitti talks about the new publications K-State has finished. We'll end with Shawn Christensen with Springvale Ranch's Data-Driven Genetic Decisions. Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com. This segment brought to you by Kansas Regenerative Medicine. Your stem cells, your health, your life.
Hello and welcome to Horsing Around. I'm Dr. Chris Blevins at Kansas State University Veterinary Health Center, and today joined by Dr. Laurie Beard. She is a clinical professor here at Kansas State and is the section head for Equine. And today thought we'd just kind of go over, if an owner had either an issue with their horse or they're just wanting to come to visit. First of all, I'd like to start with what kind of people do we have in the equine section and what kind of cases do we kind of see here?
Yeah, so very good question. So we have a number of different veterinarians that work on horses, and we do everything. So Dr. Blevins, he is our field service veterinarian, so he's going to be able to see your horse out in the field, or he often sees a number of cases in-house, so he does a lot of vaccines and dentistries and just primary care veterinary work. We also have veterinarians that specialize. So I'm an internist. I see problems that would be medically treated. For instance, pneumonias, diarrheas, neurologic cases, see a lot of foals in the spring. We have surgeons that do soft tissue surgery. They do orthopedic surgeries. They also do a lot of the lameness, laceration type of repairs. We actually have somebody too that does our work in reproduction or theriogenology. And so we have a lot of different areas. We also have other support veterinarians that do work on all animals, but we have board certified ophthalmologists, we have board certified cardiologists, we have board certified anesthesiologists as well. So we've kind of got everything your horse needs, from the very basic to the more complicated. I'd also like to state that you don't need a referral to come to Kansas State University. So your veterinarian can certainly refer your horse, but if you have a situation in which you think, gosh, my horse has a serious problem, I want to bring it, you are more than welcome to schedule an appointment yourself to bring your horse here.
I think those are all good points and things to remember for owners, that they're always welcome. Any questions or concerns, to just get a hold of us, and we're here for them. And for your veterinarian, for sure, for that too. Where we are at is actually the large animal.
Where exactly the equine section is when you would drop off or unload your horse. We are on the back side of Mosier Hall, so you'll see the emergency sign up front off of Denison, but then you'll have to drive around to the back side, and that's where we unload the horses and get started. So just making sure people kind of understand that we're not necessarily right on the front of the building. You have to kind of drive around to the back side of the building, and there are a lot of signs to help you direct you into that location. So this is kind of the area that you can see behind us of where they would start and sign in for whatever they need or concerns, and then there's pages that go out and students that get involved.
Yes.
Kind of what would happen next after they get checked in, as far as what would go and who would be around?
Yeah, so you would come in here, you'd get checked in, and what's going to usually happen at that point is that there's going to be a fourth-year student that comes out, introduces themselves. They're going to get a history from you. We'll get your animal brought in. They may start with a physical exam, but very shortly you're going to be then introduced to the senior clinician. We also have some junior faculty, some residents and interns. They're all veterinarians, but they'll be part of this as well. Certainly if you have an animal that's critically sick, and we do have those, we're going to be involved from the get-go. So it'll depend on those situations, but usually this is a place where the students are going to come, at least get that history, where you're going to help get your horse off the trailer and into the building.
Yeah, so and I think that's a good point. This is a quality area for any aspects of the equine medicine and surgery, and you're going to get the top-notch care. And we're also teaching students. So there's a lot of stuff that's going on. There's a lot of people, but definitely a lot of veterinarians that get involved with cases.
Yeah, one thing we're on never short supply is people.
Yes.
And so there will be a lot of people you'll be introduced to, fourth-year students, technicians, faculty, senior, junior faculty, and again, the house officers as well. So these are veterinarians in training programs to specialize in whatever field they've chosen.
That's great. Well, I think next, after they get checked in, why don't we go and show them where their horse may be examined?
Sure.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Wheat. Learn more at rediscoverwheat.org.
Okay, so now we're in one of the exam rooms that we would use for horses after they get checked in. There's kind of a large area where they kind of unload. Maybe the student would do the exam. But this room gets used quite a bit. Could you explain a little bit about the room that we're in right now?
Yeah, so it's one of our general exams rooms. Sometimes we refer to it as the colic room, but we will see a lot of different horses, not necessarily just colic in this area. But the room, we have a set of stocks here that we're going to usually try to get your horse in. Not always successful, but that's usually we do our exam in the set of stocks. And this is actually where we're going to do our general workup. So we're going to get basic physical exams, so temperature, heart rate, respiratory rate. We're going to listen to the heart and the lungs. Do we need to pass a tube? Do we need to do a rectal exam? Do we need pull out to an ultrasound? So we'll do all those things. And in some situations, we have a pretty critical horse. We may have multiple veterinarians here doing things simultaneously. Students will be involved. They'll be involved in doing things like listening to the heart, getting that temperature, that sort of thing. So this is that area we can do it. We also have a set of scales over here so we can actually get accurate weights on our large patients.
Yeah, and I think that's something too is when they come here, usually the owner, depending on the case, but they sure can be back here and are communicated during the process. So it's not like you drop something and you have to wait in some little room to figure out what's going on. We try to keep people involved. And yeah, you can look in here sometimes and there'll be like 8 different veterinarians and 8 students and all doing different things and communicating with each other depending on the case. Even like anesthesiologists will come in here if it's going to have to go to surgery. They'll get stuff ready from here too.
Yeah, and that's the big difference between when we work on large animals or equine in particular, the owner is part of this. And so in small animal, maybe you've had that experience where they've taken your dog, taken it to a different room, and you're not around for the examination. That's not going to be the case in this situation. We're working right with the clients, right with the horses. And so the clients are involved. They're involved with asking questions. So all those sort of things.
Yeah, and the decision process, I think you guys do a great job of just communicating where they're at, even financially, what are some options, here's what we have. And so I think that's a big part of it, that maybe some people kind of are hesitant of coming because they think everything's just going to be, thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. But I think there's different options, and we work with the client and trying to figure out what's best for the patient for sure, but also for that of the client.
Yeah, and that's something that's really, when I talk to my students, one of my jobs is to know exactly what things cost, and it's the client's money. The client's going to decide how they want to care for their horse. So we usually come up with some different options, different plans, explaining those options and plans to the owner to understand what they're getting into.
I think all those things are great, and I think that I sure appreciate you kind of shedding light a little bit on that area for that of owners. If you guys have any questions or concerns, just give us a call here at Kansas State Veterinary Health Center, and either about your patient or even about the facility. We'd sure be welcome to any aspects and talking to you on that. Thank you, Dr. Beard, in talking today, and I'm Dr. Chris Blevins for Horsing Around, and we'll see you around.
The new Better Horses Network is worldwide, presented by Lucas Oil. featuring worldwide radio and TV with iconic hosts like Al Dunning, Sharon Camarillo, Ernie Rodina, Lindy Birch, and Craig Cameron. With American Cowboy, Horse and Rider, Brushy Creek, Cavenders, and Ride TV. Worldwide radio and TV, the all-new Better Horses Network.
Buying a car shouldn't be this hard. And at Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego, it isn't. It's actually awesome. Whether you want a new or used car or truck, Toby's team can make the deal. Even if you want to custom order a new car or truck, Toby's team can make the deal. See Toby's team at Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego. We're awesome.
Soil is the life of a farm, and for 25 years, Sure Crop Liquid Crop Nutrition has helped growers produce abundant quality crops while preserving and improving the soils they steward. Sure Crop offers complete soil and plant analysis with cropping recommendations, delivery direct to your on-farm storage, and quality crop nutrition custom blended for your field. Choose Sure Crop for the assurance of excellence for your soil. Call today or visit their website for more information.
KFRM is one of the largest farm radio stations in the nation, dedicated to informing and entertaining rural listeners from northern Oklahoma to southwestern Nebraska. You can catch KFRM in many ways, of course, 550 on the AM dial, streaming at kfrm.com, or on your smartphone by going to the TuneIn Radio app, or on AGam in Kansas on Tuesdays and Facebook every day of the week. KFRM, tune us in. You'll be glad you did.
This segment brought to you by Sure Crop, liquid crop nutrition delivered right to your farm.
For any kind of stocker operation, you need to probably deworm them. Most of the parasites that we see are usually outside of the animal, in the pasture. So when you look at a pasture, in trying to develop a strategic program, you want to try to minimize pasture contamination. And one way to do that is to try to keep animals off that pasture at least for 90 days. And if you have any animals on those days, prior to either putting your stockers on or putting a new set of animals on there, then they are essentially contaminating that pasture. So what you want to do is, if you, to get that 90-day safe period for your pastures, you want to either try to do something that minimizes the parasite burden, like burning, or making sure you deworm any animals before you put them into that pasture. So basically, when you have a parasite burden, they're impacting that animal's immune response. So they're diverting energy to fight off that parasite versus diverting that same energy to put on that pounds of gain. And so essentially what you have is when you have a parasite burden, they are increasing your cost by eating more pounds of forage to put on that same pound of gain, because it reduces the feed efficiency, and then it also alters their immune response.
So what are some of the main players here with external flies that producers should be watching?
Our biggest impact are horn flies. When you look at them, because they're how long the season is for horn flies. And then there's the small flies on the backs of the animal. They can reach up to 1,000 per animal if they go untreated. Essentially what they're doing is they're piercing that animal's skin up to 24 different times a day. So that's a stress to the animal. And then the other thing with horn flies is you've got to rotate the chemical classes again, because we have high levels of resistance in horn fly populations. Any name-bearing product, it tends to work a little bit better. Now, it's not going to say your generic products won't work, but what the data shows is the name-bearing products perform a little bit better, both for internal parasites and to a certain extent external parasites. But with external parasites, generics, it's the thing you have to be careful of is some of these are alcohol-based and some of these are water-based. So you just need to be careful when you're applying them if you watch out for the weather. And so if it's going to rain the same day, or if it's raining while you're applying the product, it's going to have an impact to the performance of that product.
I was in an accident where I fell off a roof. I don't know why I started to research stem cells, but I did. And I visited with the doctors. They were excellent. I had my neck done, my shoulders done, section of my back, my hips, my sacrum, my sciatica, and my tailbone. Now I am having better range of motion in my arms and my neck and my back. It was a long road to get there, but I'm so glad that I found them.
Here's another gardening tip with Annette Jackson from Jackson's Greenhouse.
Fall is a great time to plant, and if you would like fresh fruit, grapes, or berries to eat next year, now is an ideal time to plant.
We'll show you how, what, and where to plant for a successful crop of delicious, healthy fruit. We have a great selection and great service. Come see us at Jackson's.
Our entire stock of shrubs, roses, berries, perennials, and trees are now on sale at 25% off. Hurry out for your best selection.
Jackson's Greenhouse has what you need today.
Tallgrass Commodities offers producers bulk commodities at a reasonable price with reliable service throughout the whole Midwest. To find out more about Tallgrass Commodities, visit tallgrass.us or call 785-494-8484.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Corn. Learn more at kscorn.com.
Every year, at the end of the year, we are really working hard to put new publications to make sure that we are producing relevant information for our farmers. On the corn side, two main points to emphasize on those publications. One of our publications was in collaboration with a seed company. We just basically, in a summary, we took a look to all the information produced in the U.S. in terms of yield response to seeding rates. And we tried to take a look to different situations. Provide a conclusion on that publication is based on your yield environment, based on what would your yield potential, your seeding rates can change and your response to seeding rates can be going from flat in a very low yield environment, which means that you might be optimizing your seeding rate if you are staying in a very low densities, and going to the opposite side on a very high yield environment where we really depend on the number of plants. And then in order to increase yields, we really need to increase our seeding rates. So stay tuned for looking for that specific publication. That will be a nice review on yield response on corn and the different seeding rates. Second one was connected to the use of new technologies, and we are really pushing on that area, working with farmers. So this year particularly, we received information from 22 different farmers in Kansas. We took yield monitors in corn, and we analyzed what was the relationship between yield monitor information, most likely getting in around harvest time, October, and taking a look to the same information, same season, but just a picture, a satellite information, satellite imagery from mid-season, from August, okay? And the idea was trying to understand, is the picture that I'm collecting around the mid-season on corn telling me something about what will be my final yields? And then it's surprised to see that how well this mid-season satellite information correlates to yields. And the point here is just to start thinking with our farmers on how we can become more efficient and start producing and manage this crop in different zones. Low yielding environments will more likely will have less inputs. High yielding environments will have more inputs. So stay tuned for that publication. And the last one on the corn side is related to the drought tolerant hybrids. So after several years of research information collected at K-State, we finally put publication, and we will have a new extension publication very short that will summarize the benefits on using those hybrids. And the main point on that publication, it will show that if we are in a very low yielding situations, less than 120, 140 bushels, we will have a more likely positive response when we are using those hybrids than when we have environments that are higher than 150, 160 bushels. On soybean also we have very exciting news. We have a new publication. We just finalized putting together a new soybean production handbook. This handbook basically have information, different chapters from growth and development, economics, fertilization, management practices. So it's very complete and it's very updated, and it's just, we will be releasing and sharing that data and all that information in our soybean schools. And then the other point is also very exciting news, working with several farmers across the state, again showing how we can start using technology. So we'll be sharing some very good, exciting information on using drones and satellite data on different farmer fields and how we can increase productivity on those farmer fields based on using technology, with the goal at the end of the day to see how we can minimize inputs use and also increase productivity so we can increase profits. On the sorghum side, again, many things going on. We have a new sorghum publication, extension publication that will be just targeted for the schools. And then to emphasize in all the different crops, we'll have new publications that we developed just this year on corn growth and development. We have a new publication as a poster. We have a new soybean growth and development poster. And also we have the one that we did on sorghum that is also almost a brand new sorghum growth and development poster. So we are summarizing all this information to make sure that all this information is available in our soybean schools and it can be shared with all our farmers.
Grain sorghum is one of the most important cereal crops worldwide, and Kansas leads the nation in its production. Over the years, sorghum has been either exported, used in animal feed domestically, or for other industrial uses. Recently, its use in the ethanol market has seen tremendous growth, with 30% of domestic sorghum typically going to ethanol production. Kansas Grain Sorghum is committed to sorghum research, market development, and education. Learn more at ksgrainsorghum.org.
Next time you see a beautiful field of corn, reach out and thank the farmers who work tirelessly to raise corn for livestock feed, renewable fuels, and exports to feed a growing world population. The farmers on the Kansas Corn Commission work for Kansas Corn with grower-funded checkoff dollars that support foreign and domestic market development, research, promotion, and education to expand opportunities for Kansas farmers. To learn more, visit kscorn.com.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission. Progress powered by Kansas farmers.
A 4-H carcass contest first showed Montana rancher Shawn Christensen what was under the hide. That spurred his interest. Then he became an AI tech and began extensively using that technology. All the while, the cattleman continued to build on his father's selection for high-quality cattle.
He was really on track of wanting to stay with one bloodline or one breed of cattle. That's about the time I was really interested. I was in high school and showing 4-H steers, and my whole interest was the cattle industry, or raising cattle, breeding cattle. And he kind of says, well, left that challenge to me to, okay, you're going to go build this program. And it's been great.
2 decades ago, the family forged a relationship with a Nebraska cattle feeder. They still get detailed carcass data back on each head.
It's been always very helpful because you're always looking at what certain sires are doing as a sire group. You can see what a individual cow is doing, what half sisters are doing, and with a lot of this, I mean, there is a few extra dollars involved, because if your cattle have some of that behind them, then they can grid these calves.
Christensen uses that feedback to make steady improvement. Today, loads are up to 100% choice with 65% certified Angus beef brand qualifiers. Carcass weights have improved 73 pounds with a younger calf crop, while mature cow weight has gone unchanged.
And so that's when I was able to kind of really see what sires are doing and what the cow herd's doing, and trying to make small adjustments that way, and still trying to implement, all the necessary things that you need to have to make it all budget-minded, dollar-driven for everybody involved in the industry.
That means a cow that works on the range with as much marbling as possible.
You try never to lose sight of that, because it's just one of those deals you can, it's probably one of the only things you can never have too much of.
Shawn and his wife Jen were recently named the 2016 CAB Commercial Commitment to Excellence Award winners.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com.